everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting the brand new Exalted Hero of Chaos. Yes, here he is, the brand new hero for the Slaves to Darkness, or villain, depends on your outlook on life, I suppose. This was sent to me early by Games Workshop, so a massive thank you to them to build up and paint and review for all of you, and that is exactly what we are going to be doing. So without further ado, we're going to jump in and we are going to start painting him. We're going to be painting him in the same style as our silver scheme, as this is the one that's on the box art. And, well, the colour we're going to be using first is Iron Warriors. And we're just going to be painting this over the top of all of his armour and any other silver details that he might have. Now, according to the box art, as I can see it before me, this is going to include the 8-pointed star on his shield. It's also going to include this little bit of chainmail down here, but what it's not going to include is the little circular bit here. It's not going to include the sword, it's not going to include this knee pad just here, and it's not going to include the main body of the shield. But otherwise, we're going to just have at it. Oh, I should also point out, it does not include the helmet either. That's going to be gold. So we're just going to get this all over like this, and then once that's done, we shall return. So with that done, as you can see, we've got that Iron Warriors all over, and it's still drying at the moment. So what we're going to do is move on to our next colour, and that's going to be the red. So the colour we're going to be using for this is Baal Red, and we're going to be getting this all over the top of his cloak and his hair plume. So we're just going to start around here on the back, and we're just going to start applying this Baal Red all over. Just like this. So with that Baal Red all applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion and we're going to apply this to the sword blade, the shield, and to this little circular bit. I'm sure there's a word for it. In fact, I'm pretty certain I've said that before, and it's been corrected in the comments. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to ask you to do it again. What is that little round bit just there? What is that called on armor? Because I don't know. Anyway, we're going to be applying this Black Legion all over these details. Just like this. So with that Black Legion all applied, what we then do is we take some Garaghak Sewer and we're going to apply this over the top of the fur. Just like this. with that done, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Cygor Brown and we're going to apply this to all of the leather details. So with that Cygor Brown all applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Wyldwood and we're going to apply this to the horns on the helmet. We're not going to be doing any blending here, we don't need to according to the box art. We're just going straight in, all Wyldwood all the time. And these are just the ones on the helmet, not the one on the shoulder. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Agrax Earthshade and we're going to apply this over the top of the horn on the shoulder, as well as one of the skulls on the shield and the soft wraps on all of the weapons. Like that. We've got a soft wrap just in here, like so. We've got one there, like that. And then the skull we're talking about is this one here. And we might as well apply this to the teeth on the other one. Whilst we're here, like so. So with that done, just whilst we're waiting for the Agrax Earthshade to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour. I'm going to start applying this over the top of all of our gold details. Now this is going to include areas such as that knee pad just there, as you can see, like I'm painting in right now. It's going to include the trim on the shield, the pommel, the crossguard on the sword, and a slight departure from the box art, we're going to include this little bit of trim here. Like that. We're going to include the belt buckle and the helmet in this as well. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Mortarion Grime and we're going to apply this over the head. Just here. I'm going to do 2 layers of that. Get it nice and strong as a colour. Just whilst we're waiting for that Mortarion Grime to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Guilliman Flesh and we're going to apply this over the top of the other scalp. Just here, like that. And our final base coat is going to be some Skeleton Horde over the top of this skull up here. So with that done, all of our base coats are now on our Exalted Hero of Chaos, so it's time to add some shades. And the first one we're going to add is Agrax Earthshade. I'm going to be applying this over the top of all of the red. So with that Agrax Earthshade all applied, as you can see, it's still drying at the moment, but that's okay, because what we're going to do is going to move on, and we're going to move on to shading all of our metallics. Now, the first colour we're going to be using for this is Targor Rageshade, and we're just going to be applying this very liberally all over the gold and the silver. Then next up, just whilst we're waiting for that to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Nuln Oil and we're going to use this to shade the black of the shield and the sword blade. So with that done, we've just got a few more shades to apply. We could leave it there, but we're not going to. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Reikland Fleshshade, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the gold armour. This is over the top of the Targor Rageshade, which, as you can see, gives us this really lovely deep rose effect. And with that Reikland Fleshshade applied, we then take some Agrax Earthshade. We're going to apply this over the top of the silver. Just to really get it nice and dark and dirty. So with that done, our Exalted Hero of Chaos is now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready. He's looking pretty cool. However, we're not going to leave him there. No, what we're going to do is going to take him to the next level. I'm going to do this by adding a glaze with some blending, some relayers, and some highlights. Now we're going to start with that glaze / blending thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a roughly 3 parts contrast medium to 1 part Cygor Brown mix. And we're going to apply this towards the hem of the robe / cloak. And then we're going to smooth it out and blend it into the rest of the cloak. So what we're going to do is round about, well, we're going to start at the tip and bring it up to around about halfway, and then we're going to smooth it into the red. So we're just going to like this. And we're just going to do it section by section. This way we have a bit of control over it. So we're going to come up to around about there, like that. We're going to wash the brush, and then we're going to smooth out that transition by just feathering away at where that paint ends into the red. So you see you get that lovely move from the darker brown into the red. Same thing here, starting at the bottom. Getting up to around about there. Wash the brush. And then we're just going to smooth it out. Just like that. I'm going to do this all the way around. When you come to the underside there, you don't really need to do the blending. You can just get this all over like that, because you can't really see the top part of the cloak. You see? Just like that. And now we're going to do this on the back as well. So we've got a section here, there, and then finally there. Just going to start here. So with that Cygor Brown and contrast medium mix applied, the cloak is looking pretty fantastic. But we're going to leave it there for now because it's still drying and we do want to move on. So what we're going to do is going to move on to adding some highlights. And the first one we're going to add is Iron Hand Steel. And we're going to be applying this as a highlight to all of our silver details. So we're just going to be picking out all of the edges here. Just like this. So with that done, the silver really comes alive. It looks fantastic, as you can see. So what we're going to do now is move on, and we're going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour. I'm going to apply this over the flattest areas of the gold. And this is because, well, we've got to have a reasonably bright knee pad and a reasonably bright helmet. So just here, for example, what we're going to do is we're going to start reapplying that Retributor Armour just there across that panel like that. Makes it nice and shiny, and we're going to apply it just here, avoiding that little imperfection in the armour. We're going to apply it just under here and just under here as well, like so. Then what we're going to do is exactly the same thing, but on the top of the helmet. Just like that. I'm going to add a little bit of it just there. One thing I should point out actually is that I did add some Iron Hand Steel over the top of the belt buckle, as the box art has it as silver. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Liberator Gold, and we're going to use this to highlight all of our gold, just picking out all of the edges. Just like this. And with that done, just to finish off all the silver and the gold, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Stormhost SIlver, and we're going to apply this to the sharpest points. So with that done, all of the metallics are now finished, and they look fantastic, even if I do say so myself. So What we're going to do now is move on, and we're going to use some thinned down Dark Reaper. And we're going to use this to highlight all of our black details. So we've got the sword blade, that little round piece of the armor, and the shield. And with that done, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Russ Grey, and we're going to apply this as a little bit of a spot highlight across the sharpest areas. So what we're going to do, for example, here is we're going to pick out that kind of corner of the blade there, like that sort of thing. I'm going to pick out the little bit afterwards. Still leaving some of that Dark Reaper showing towards the base of the sword. Add a little bit of this coming down. The tang of the blade like that. We're also going to pick out little parts of the tang of the blade in between the runes, as well as any nicks. Like that sort of thing. We'll do the same thing on the other side. And then similarly on the little rondel, we're going to pick out both of those little rivets, and we're going to add a little highlight going around the top edge. Like that sort of thing. Finally, on the shield, we're going to use this to add a little bit of brightness. To the damage. And a little bit of a highlight along this back edge. Like that. Finally, just to finish off those black details, we're going to take some Fenrisian Grey. I'm going to apply this to the sharpest points. And corners on all the black. So with that done, all of the black is now finished. However, the sword is not, and that's what we're going to do now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Lugganath Orange, and we're going to thin it down with a little bit more water than we would normally, sort of 2 or 3 parts. And we're just going to take this on our tiny little brush, and we're going to drop this into the runes. It doesn't matter if it overlaps the edges just a little bit. If anything, that's kind of what we're after. So with that Lugganath Orange applied, we then take some Gryph-Hound Orange and we apply this over the top. like that. So with that done, the sword is now finished. So what we're going to do is move on, and we're going to take some thinned down Baneblade Brown, and we're going to use this to highlight our Wyldwood horns. So with that done, we can now move on, and that is going to be to the final piece that we're going to be doing some highlights on, and that's the cloak. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take some Wordbearer's Red, and we're going to use this to highlight the areas in our darker section, which we did the Cygor Brown over the top. Don't need to worry about the top of the cape. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Evil Sunz Scarlet, and we're going to use this to highlight the plume. And we're going to use this to highlight the top part of the cloak that we haven't done yet. Like that sort of thing. And then finally, on the bottom part of the cloak, I'm just going to use this to pick out the sharp corners. Like this sort of thing. And with that done, just to finish off the cloak, what we're going to do is going to take a teeny tiny amount of Fire Dragon Bright, and we're going to use this to pick out the sharpest points in that kind of brighter red. As well as the tips of the hair. And so with that done, the only thing left to do is to take some Gorthor Brown, and we're just going to use this to pick out the fur. And so with those final highlights applied and the base now all complete in the same style as the rest of my Slaves to Darkness miniatures, the Exalted Hero of Chaos is now finished. Now I think this is an absolute gorgeous reimagining of a very classic miniature. I think it's fantastic. It's been scaled up so appropriately alongside the rest of the range, and it just has this real impact and presence on the battlefield. It's a really cool little model, this one, and super crucial for your armies going forward in Age of Sigmar, as I'm sure you know by now. So, hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you're looking forward to yours. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you want to support me further like these legends and bosses on the screen before you, you can do so.
head to patreon.com/warhipster or head to ko-fi.com/warhipster. Alternatively, you could become a YouTube member by heading to the channel page and clicking on the join button just here, just like these amazing, wonderful people have done. And if you really like this video or you just want to shoot me some support, you can click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.